Hey everyone, Tim Howard from Coastal Preps here for the softball preview. I'm looking forward to a great season this year of softball. Of course, we had Hoggard win a state title a few years back, and then Topsail won the conference last year. So we've got some really talented teams. And if you've watched some of the videos previously, like baseball yesterday, or the ones in the fall and spring, some of those, I did some Q&As, some question and answers, and I'm going to do that again for softball right now. So let's start with the first question. First question is, which team has the best pitching? And I think obviously have to start with Topsail, who has the reigning Coastal Preps Pitcher of the Year in Kennedy Sloan. She had a great season last year and is back again for her junior season. So she will kind of carry the load for the Pirates. You may see Zoe Vincent step in occasionally, maybe in some games that the Pirates are winning pretty handily, or against opponents that are weaker, that that they know that they can win. Zoe Vincent may step in a time or two, but for the most part, it will be the Kennedy Sloan show, and she does a really good job of just mixing up pitches. She's not doesn't throw super hard, but she locates really well and can keep teams off balance that way. I think another team that will rely heavily on one pitcher, but she's really good, is South Brunswick's Keena Davis, a sophomore. She opened up her season with a 16 strikeout performance in a win over East Bladen. So she is a pitcher that was dominant during her freshman year, continues to get stronger, I think, and is a little different than Kennedy in the fact that she throws pretty hard and is a more power pitcher. And I think that's how she finds success. I think those two teams have one really strong pitcher, but if we're looking at just a staff as a whole, Laney has 5 pitchers that on any given night they can throw out there, and that's a huge advantage. If one of them's not locked in that night, Coach Bradley Rhodes can go and pull another one out, and he can keep their arms fresh as well by starting different pitchers. If they have 3 games in a week, he could easily start 3 different pitchers and keep their arms fresh. So I think Allie Bunch will probably be the go-to pitcher. She's the one that has the most experience. But then you've also got sophomore Mackenzie Curry, and then 3 really talented freshmen in Billy Betancourt, Briley Matthews, and McKinley Horrell, who I think will all see time this year. So just like I said, a plethora of arms, and will certainly help Laney, I think, finish near the top or at the top of the Mid-Eastern Conference this year. Let's move on to question number 2. The last question was who had the best pitching. Now we're going to talk about who has the best offensive team. And I think, again, started with Topsail last time, but I really think Topsail is the team to beat in the conference this year. So I think they also have the best offense. Another reigning Coastal Preps Player of the Year, Zoe Vincent, leads off for them and just does a terrific job of getting on base, using her speed. But if you come too far in the outfield, she can certainly hit one over your head, and anything in the gap is probably a triple with her speed. Emmy Clark is a sophomore who had just a really good freshman year, hit over 500, so I expect big things from her. Kennedy Sloan, who I mentioned earlier in pitching, is also a great hitter. Jalen Noble is another really good hitter for them, and Addie McDougal. I could list more, but those are kind of their 5 go-to hitters that are returning from last year, and I think make a really good lineup for the Pirates. I think Hoggard also has a very good offensive lineup. They're going to use their speed a lot with a couple slappers. Bella Roberts, Jordan Martin, Gracie Mabry will kind of get it done at the top of the lineup, and then in the middle to be the people that drive in the runs will be Maddie Scanlon and Sydney Shamillo. Those first 3 will be the ones that get on base, create havoc on the base pass, and then if Maddie and Sydney can drive them in, Hoggard should have a pretty successful year this year. Who are some top underclassmen to watch? And interesting enough, I've got 5 names here, and they're all sophomores. So, I think these are some really top-notch players. A few of them you've already heard about. Obviously, Keena Davis, who I talked about earlier, has really helped turn the South Brunswick program around. Her and another sophomore on the list, Addison Woodruff, are part of a really good sophomore class that helped the Cougars go from the bottom of the Mid-Eastern Conference to right there in the middle last year. I think they finished 6-6 in the league, and I expect them to finish even better this year. Won a round in the playoffs last year, so that's a program that is certainly turning the corner. Emmy Clark over at Topsail, talked about her already and how dynamic she is at the plate. Also a really good defender. Layla Carr over at Laney hit over 500 last year as a freshman, so she's really, really solid. And then Hoggard's pitcher, Macy Shamillo, had to step in and take over. It was a difficult situation for her because she had to take over for Isis Tresvik, who led Hoggard to a state championship and is now playing at Auburn. So she had big shoes to fill. Came in as a freshman last year, and I thought pitched really well for them. And I think now that she's got even more experience on her belt, I think she'll have a better season this year. So those are 5 sophomores that I think are people should be on the lookout for. Did some top underclassmen. Now we'll look at some top upperclassmen. And this list is, again, some players that you've already heard before. Of course, at Topsail, Kennedy Sloan, a junior, Zoe Vincent, the senior, both reigning Coastal Preps Players of the Year. We've got McKenna Carter, catcher over at Ashley, who does a really good job behind the plate and is also one of the Screaming Eagles' better hitters. Bella Roberts, again at Hoggard, just a pesky hitter at the plate, a little slapper that, anytime the ball's put in play, she can reach base based on her speed. And then I think Trask, has a couple of upperclassmen to look out for, and I think the Titans should have a pretty good year this year. They're now in a new conference that'll be difficult with the Columbus County schools in Pender, but I look for Trask to have a pretty good season because of Chloe Barnhill and Logan Fennell are 2 of their better players that returned from last year. Last question. What is your predicted order of finish for the Mid-Eastern Conference? And I've put out my preseason power rankings, so if you got a chance to look at those, you'll probably know what I've got. But here is what I think. I've got Topsail repeating as the conference champions again this year. I just think, like I said, arguably the best pitcher in the conference, probably the deepest lineup in the conference. Those 2 factors make them the league favorite for me. I've got Laney finishing second. Love what they can do with their arms, and then some good hitters. I think if they're able to score some runs this year, that they're going to need that to beat a Topsail team. The offense is the one question mark for me for Laney. I like South Brunswick to finish third. Mentioned that they were middle of the pack last year. I think they elevate that and can finish near the top of the standings this year. Keena Davis is just that good of a player. I think at some point in her career, she is going to be a Coastal Preps Player of the Year just because of how dynamic she is. I've got Hoggard finishing 4th. I've got Ashley at 5th. And then I've got North Brunswick at 6th and West Brunswick at 7th. Although West Brunswick did pick up a nice victory in their season opener yesterday, and I love new coach Olivia Scott. I think that's a terrific hire. She did great things at Whiteville, so I think she will certainly elevate that program, and would not surprise me at all if they're kind of that team like South Brunswick that maybe finished last the previous year and moves up to finish in the middle of the pack this year. So we'll see how my predictions shake out. There's always some teams that surprise me one way or another, so sure that will not be the exact order of finish, but I wish all the teams the best of luck this year. Hopefully we can have some teams make some deep playoff runs. I know, our teams went out pretty early in the playoffs last year, which was a bit disappointing, but hopefully we can right that ship again and have some teams make some deep playoff runs like we're accustomed to. Looking forward to getting out to as many softball games as possible and covering as many games. And the games I'm not at, of course, you'll be able to find in the Daily Roundup. If I'm at a game, you'll be able to find those photo galleries and recaps on the website that night. Be sure to follow on all the social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Just search Coastal Preps on those and you'll be able to find me. Again, looking forward to seeing you guys out at some games. And thanks so much for watching. Hope you'll continue to watch throughout the rest of the week as we finish up with the spring previews. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.